Welcome, Locksmithing Innovations, the YouTube channel that is about tools, tips, and tricks to assist locksmiths and people in related fields make their work easier and more proficient and more enjoyable. I'm Jeff. If you're a subscriber, thank you and welcome back. If you're new, if you like this video, please check the like button, watch other videos, and please comment. This week's video is on strike markers. Not the most exciting topic, but a very useful topic. I made my first ever strike marker, and unfortunately it got stolen when one of the trucks, the companies I work for, got broken into, and since then I've made others, plenty of others. Now there is some very key features in strike markers that someone should be interested in. I want to show you one that I bought about a year ago. It's by Locksmithing Tool Company. It says it's a stainless steel, $16 American. I bought it from American Key Supply. I don't buy a lot anymore from American Key Supply, but and I didn't check other distributors, but there's the strike marker right there. Nice and heavy. Oh, upside down there. Locksmithing Tool Company. Still a nice sharp tip, because I don't think I've ever really even used it. I just bought it. It was a good price. And always like to have extra stuff. So yeah, close the door, give it a good slam. Wood frame, you're going to have a nice mark in. If it's a metal frame, you can still push it forward and rub your door in and out to get a mark there. You slam it hard, you're going to flatten that tip. And that's the trouble with a strike marker with a fixed tip. I've worked at many a shop and seen flattened tips on the old Wiser strike markers and quickset markers that have been available for years. Actually, why don't we turn that around so I can have the writing in the right direction and that. So yeah, obviously if it was a wood door and a steel frame, especially with concrete, and I closed the door and I slammed that hard, I'd be flattening that tip. And the more I flatten it, the more it would become a useless tool. So I'm not a big fan of strike markers with fixed tips. I made this after the first one I ever made got stolen when one of the companies I worked for. Now, this does the same thing. Boom, you slam it in, wood frame's perfect. Metal frame, I could push it and rub it and get a mark on it. The difference with this one is it a changeable tip? Yes, it is. It stays in there, trust me. That just screws right in there. Now, those tips are a hardened tip made for a Hilti with a 22 shot caliper shot to place into concrete walls, and that's why it's hardened. A threaded to mount an electrical box. I actually have a punch, safe punch, using the same system, and that's what gave me the idea to use these tips that I bought from Lockmasters, that if the punch tip is dull, I can change it out by just changing the tip. So, now, one other nice thing about this one came up with is not only can I change the tip, but I can change the diameter. Here you can see I've got two different diameters. This one's just a little smaller than that one. I think this one will go in a 7/8 hole. I actually have my calipers over here set up for 7/8. Oh no, it takes a smaller one yet than for a 7/8 hole. That one would probably just be under a 7/8 hole. And a lot of times the hole saws will drill a bigger hole. And then they're just held together with an old cutoff bolt and nut, the same thing. So I can put that in there. And the spring's there to keep everything from not getting loose. So now we'll try it. Oh, we can definitely get in a 7/8 hole in there. Some particular different brands of hardware use a smaller hole than others for drive-ins and such stuff like that. So what I found was using hole saws after they got dull and were going to get discarded gave me unlimited supply of different sizes that I could come up with. And if it's a size I especially need for a large project, I could go out and buy a brand new hole saw and take the teeth off of it if I wanted to. But this has always worked fine for me. So not only does my design have a changeable tip, but it has a changeable barrel, so I get different sizes that it'll fit. And then I just keep them together with this threaded part with a nut in between it and an O-ring to keep them from coming loose on that, and they've never come loose. So one of the young apprentices, I decided to help him out and quickly make him a set of strike markers too. These are made from sockets I've got at a used building store that sells miscellaneous stuff. Didn't pay a lot for them. 11/16 deep socket, fits in a 1-inch hole, nice. Carriage bolt right through with a sharpened tip. Cut ahead so I actually have some washers and nut holding it there. And I used a T-nut up here just because I didn't want no wavering and no displacement off of center. So if he wants, he can sharpen this on a grinder, or he can change the whole carriage bolt down the road if he needs to. And then this is just the rubber end you buy at like Home Depot or whatnot for a chair leg. Keeps the point protected. Also made them one out of a shorter 11/16 socket. Okay, this happens to be a concrete screw, not here, not down here, and some washers. Works just as well. Now I know there are those out there that, and I've seen videos talking about using lipstick. I'll be honest with you. I once, years and years ago, tried the lipstick method, found it didn't work that well, made a mess, smeared, and then I had a problem getting it cleaned off of white painted frame, I believe, or door. Was not super impressed with using lipstick on the end of the bolt and then throwing it into the frame. So I've always used strike markers. Now, I have since ordered one with a changeable tip. It's made by a manufacturer, a very big manufacturer, and it's kind of ironic because I love their thinking. They must have some very good developers in this company. We buy a lot of stuff off of them. They make a lot of great products. Years ago, I bought one of their products and came up with an improvement for it, and was told by the sales rep I was out of my mind, not thinking straight, and that, and what it was an electric pick gun. Paid a lot of money for it back when it came out, and it was a rechargeable battery in it. But the trouble was, is every time I went to my truck and you had to recharge it on 110 or 120, and every time I went to the truck it was dead. And back in those days, inverters were very expensive, so we didn't have inverters in all our trucks. In fact, most of our key machines we ran off of heater motors because they would spin at a high RPM and run our key machines. So the heater blower in your car, or air blower, air mover in your car, we would buy those and hook them up to the key machines. And not all the trucks would have inverters because they were very expensive back then, and so every time I went to the truck for this pick gun, it was dead, which was really disappointing, especially what I spent with. But I did notice that the end of it and the pick gun head was held on with 2 roll pins, and it looked very similar to the Black & Decker VersaPack 3.6 tool. And I had a bunch of those at home for homework. I never used them for commercial work. And I realized that it was the same as the screw gun. So the minute I knocked the roll pins out of both, I was able to swap the head, and all of a sudden I made one with an interchangeable, rechargeable battery style tool. And it was great because I had all these extra batteries that keep with me that were charged up, and if I went to the truck and the battery that was in it was dead, I would just swap it out for another battery and away I'd go. And this pick gun became very, very, very useful tool, and I was very happy with it. So I took it to a trade show again, and where I first seen the tool in the first place, and bought one and showed it to the tool rep, and he says I wasn't thinking straight. No, you don't need a pick gun with a changeable battery. Something similar to what Mr. Dyson was told by Hoover, that no, vacuum cleaners got to have bags. That's the way, because they were making a fortune off the bags. Even though they stole his idea and went bagless vacuum, he won a huge lawsuit off them because they had known about his bagless vacuum and signed a non-disclosure and everything else to protect his rights and that, because he wanted to try to license it to him, and he ended up winning a huge lawsuit. Well, the irony of it is the same tool company that said I was not thinking right. And by the way, I own a Cronus interchangeable battery from Germany, from Multi-Pick in Germany. Love it. I've got 3 batteries for it. Never has it let me down. Swap out the battery whenever I need it, and then take and charge the battery that's dead. That tool company must have had change of people in their thought, because lo and behold, they now make the sturdy strike marker with the changeable tip, and I've ordered one from my supplier. It's 88.23 Canadian. And it has, as you can see, there's a hole right up top there. You might not be able to see it in this picture, but you can change your hardened steel tips. Okay, and that's HPC. Congratulations. The whole reason for that story was to try to let people know that suppliers and sales reps listen to the tradesmen. Listen to them well, and it will do you well, because we're on the ground. We know what we need. We know what we like. We also know what our clients and customers need and like. You listen to them, and you'll make a product that we'll be happy to recommend or pleased with. And any strike marker should have a changeable tip. No doubt about it. Keep it being useful. Now, while we're at this strike marking thing, I wanted to discuss hollow metal doors. Obviously with steel frames as well. What I do, we're going to think this as a hollow steel door for a second. What I do is I mark my placement of my holes. Okay. I will drill the 2 1/8 inch hole this way. Here, I will only drill a 1/8 inch hole to start with. Once I get the 2 1/8 inch holes, and by the way, these pencils, it's Hultafors pencil. Steel shank, removable lead, adjustable, sharpener in the thing. Great. Comes with its holder, and boom. Great for hardware, because you can get into a door closer and just circle around and make that pencil mark just perfect. Okay, other hardware. What I do is, once I drill that 1/8 inch hole, I will take the lead out of my pencil. I will stick it through that 1/8 inch hole right into the door, grab onto it with 2 fingers, point it just out a bit, and then I will close the door, push that tip enough against the frame that I'll rub it back and forth, get a mark perfectly in the center of where that hole should be, and perfectly where it stops. So when I drill into that metal frame, whether it be hollow metal, whether it be metal and concrete fill, I get a perfect hole. Then after doing that, well, right after marking it, I'll drill this 1-inch hole, then I'll drill the hole on the frame, the 1-inch, and then I'll take my pit bull. I used to have a squeeze blade, but that was also stolen and replaced with a pit bull, and do my crimping in the edge of the door. So, although a simple subject, simple subject, but hopefully a useful subject for newbies and veterans. If you use lipstick and it's worked for you for years, all the power to you. I'm just hoping to help people understand that there is some great options out there, and I'm going to show you lots more uses of hole saws. If you think of any, please add them into the comments, because I will have an episode on how to make hole saws, different hole saws into different tools. And if you think of any uses a locksmith could have for hole saws to be made into tools, please add them in the comments. Maybe you got more ideas than me, but I do have more tools that have been made out of hole saws that aren't discarded into the scrap pile. Just take the teeth off of them and use them for different things. So if you can think of any other useful tools for hole saws, please add them in to the comments. Hope you like this week's subject. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. This is Jeff from Locksmithing Innovations. Take care. Thank you.